How many people remember the first steps they ever took? How many people remember when their kids or grandchildren took their first steps? So what happened after the first few steps? Where did they look? They don't look at their tuchus. That's kind of hard when you've already fallen on it. What? Aha. I remember when my oldest daughter, who's now 29, took her first steps. Well, first, the big thing was she would hold herself like on the edge of a chair, and we have this picture of her looking back like, wow. Now, some people say that kids look back because they want to know that the adults in the room, whether they're parents or grandparents or great-grandparents, have their back, and that they know that they're supported. But yet we're here to celebrate a bar mitzvah, and Nathaniel is going to be leading parts, and he's right in between. He's both looking back at the people in his life who've held him up, and yet it's our job as his family and synagogue community to help him to be able to take steps on his own. So we're still here for you, Nathaniel, but we're all going to help you look forward so you don't have to look back as often. But we want you to know that regardless of how many steps you take away, we're always here for you. We continue now with our president sharing a few thoughts and announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom. My name is Leslie Berger, president of Temple Beth Or. Mazel tov to Nathaniel for becoming a bar mitzvah. This evening is the practice run for tomorrow. Brotherhood is having a special presentation on August 12th on the history of football, so please go on to their website and RSVP. Also on August 18th is the membership barbecue. Please RSVP online. We're still collecting school supplies for those in need until August 11th. There's a box in the foyer. Thank you to Rabbi Len and guest soloist Julie Nolte for assisting in the service tonight. Thank you to Dr. Ray for the music. Thanks to our tech team, Phil Carey, David Youngman, and Chris Jastrock, and Susan Carey for running the chat. Thanks to our ushers, Laura Milhander, Joe Gorin, and Mila Sierlin. The emergency exits are, and I'm announcing Shabbat greetings from Jeff and Wilma Shear, Rita and Bob Rubin, Ted and Noel Singer, and the McNella family, and Rita is here tonight with her daughter, Sue. Thank you for supporting this fundraiser. And thank you to the Maton family for sponsoring the flowers in honor of Nathaniel's bar mitzvah. And they're also sponsoring the onik for tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, President Berger. It is now time to move to the next thing, which is Hinei Ma Tov, how good it is to be together. Hinei Ma Tov U'Manayim.
Hinei Ma Tov U'Manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei Ma Tov U'Manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei Ma Tov, Hinei Ma Tov, ya-la-lai, la-la-la, la-la-lai. Hinei Ma Tov, Hinei Ma Tov, ya-la-lai, la-la-la, la-la-lai. Hinei Ma Tov U'Manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei Ma Tov U'Manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Do-di Li. Hinei Ma Tov was on page 10. Do-di Li is on page 11 if you'd like to follow. And the translation of Dodi Li is, my beloved is mine, and I am my beloved who browses among the lilies. Shabbat is when we pause from the tumult of the week and we get a chance to look around us, whether they're babies or our partners, spouses, or grandchildren, to put a smile on our faces. Shabbat's for smiling, so I want to see big smiles when I look out. Okay, I only see some smiles. Thank you, Dina. We continue with Dodi Li, page 11. It is now time to greet the bride. The Sabbath bride has arrived, and it's our turn to help her feel welcome, loved, cherished, and make her feel that it is her special day. The rabbis who put together the Siddur use images from our lives because it's really difficult to try to understand what we should do in relation to Shabbat. And so they used images of a queen and a bride to help us come to terms with something that is a little out of our reach. A small child is within reach, and we get joy from looking at a small child. But the only way we can understand Shabbat is by connecting it to things that will put smiles on our faces. So I ask you to turn to page 20 for Lecha Dodi.
Lecha lecha dodi, likra likra kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likra likra kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 la. Lecha dodi, likra likra kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likra likra kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tifter v'liti la 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 la, Lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, B'nei b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, B'nei b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki him v'kor ha'beracha, berosh mikadem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila, la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yaminu smol tiferotzi, vet Adonai taharitzi, ayadish ben parzi, v'nismecha v'nagi la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat בואי ושלום העטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצורה, תוך המוני עם סגולה. בואי הלאה, בואי הלאה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Please remain standing because it's time for the service of lighting the candles. Now you can be seated because there are a couple things we have to read first. It is a hot day. We should let people rest as much as they can. So there are some people from Nathaniel's family who will be participating in the service. Are any of the three of them here? Do you want to deputize the people in front of you? No? Okay, I'll read it. Is that okay? It's your call. Okay. There's a lot of traffic in LA, so I'm going to read the candle intro. We thank you, O God, for our family and friends and for what we mean and bring to one another. We are grateful for the bonds of loyalty and affection which sustain us and for the capacity to love and to care. Help us to be modest in our demands of one another, but generous in our giving to each other. May we never measure how much love or encouragement we offer. May we never count the times that we forgive. Rather, may we always be grateful that we have one another and that we are able to express our love in acts of kindness. Keep us gentle in our speech. When we offer words of criticism, may they be chosen with care and spoken softly. May we waste no opportunity to speak words of sympathy, of appreciation, and of praise. Bless our family and friends with health, happiness, and contentment. Above all, grant us the wisdom to build a joyous and peaceful home in which your spirit will always abide, and we say, Amen. It is now time for whoever can rise to rise, because we are going to turn to page 3 for Nathaniel to read the intro to the Shabbat blessings. But it's in your binder. We'll work with him. See what he wants to do.
As these Shabbat lights give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Why don't you come with me? We'll light the candles. So first. Nathaniel's lighting the candles because he's going to be saying the blessing over the lighting of the candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, source of all being, who calls us holy, acts through mitzvot, and inspires us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen again.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Erev Shabbat.
Please be seated.
Our service continues on page 9. We read responsively. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain.
On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share.
There are days when we exploit nature as if it was a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted.
On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the right of others.
On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal.
So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Our service continues on page 28 with the Baruch Hu. Please rise as you are able for our call to worship. Our service continues on page 30.
Please be seated.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechofma potea she'ariv uvit vuna meshane itim umahalif et hazmanim sader et hakokavim b'mishri rotehem barakir kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or nipnei hoshe behoshe nipnei or mavdil yon ben uvein layla o ben yom o ben layla Adonai Sevaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimlo Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Ma'ariv Aravim.
Amen.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath glides the sail of the stars, creator of tide and time and light. You guide the current of the day into night, as heaven spans to infinity. You set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Ma'ariv Aravim. Our service continues on page 33. We read responsively. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and signal.
All these things your
Torah gives to us,
And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives.
what could be a truer token of your abiding love?
Then this holiest of your works and the living language that gives its form. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
We now turn to page 32, which is on the right side of where you've been, and our soloist will lead us in Ahavat Olam, an eternal love.
עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, נגע יומם ולילה. ואחוותך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Please rise for the Shema, page 34 and 35.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevo Malachuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevo Malachuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. Not you. She really? That's why someone's going.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך ואיתך ובלתך בדרך ובשופך ובהומך, ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Our service continues on the top of page 39. We read responsively. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we are taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot.
that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness.
That there is no way to get here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Page 40, Mi Kamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot. O sefere. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot. O sefere.
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen.
Our service continues on the top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai haporeis sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
We continue on page 44, Vishamru. Please rise.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue with Adonai Svatai, page 46. Please remain standing.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatai tiftach. Na 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 ufi yagi.
Ata Adonai, Eloheinu, Vilhel Vutin Vimotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Cha'el Agado, Agibor Nenanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Begonei Yaakov, Elohei Rav Leavoim Mahot, Unigi Gulag Lipnei V'neihem, Le'aman Shemo V'yad Hava, Melech Hozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Avraham, it is Ratzorah, Atah Cantorial Soloist, Morid Chata, Mekayel Chaim Bechesed, Mekayel Akol Ve'Raknanin Ravim, Zonek Noflim Peroche Koli, Umatir Rasuri, Nekaye Ben Munato, Lishe Meyafa, Mikamoka Bakivurot, Umidolema, Melekanim, Udhaye, Umashni Ageshua, Lemana Taveyo Tapo, Baruch Atah Adonai, Chayel Hako, Atah Kadosh Tivshincha Kadosh, Ukadoshim B'chol Yom Elulu Chasela, Baruch Atah Adonai, Chayel HaKadosh. We continue on the top of page 53. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illuminates the dark in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. Our service continues on the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch Atah Adonai, Makadesh HaShabbat. We continue on page 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch Atah Adonai, she'otecha levadaha ve'yir'ah na'avod. Our service continues on page 59. Let us read together. God of goodness, we give thanks for the life wander beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the riches of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'el lechodot.
Amen.
We continue on page 61. Lo yisa goy, el goy, cherev, lo yisa yomadu, od milachama. Nation shall not take up sword against nation. They shall never again know war. Don't stop after beating the swords into plowshares. Don't stop. Go on beating and make musical instruments out of them. Whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first.
We will continue with our soloist, Mora Julie, singing on a Shalom Rav, Great is Peace, and that's what we want for all humanity. Page 60.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Ki ata Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I know there are lots of other places you can be, so I appreciate that you are making an effort to welcome Nathaniel into the ranks of Jewish adults. How's it feeling so far? Okay. That's a good approach to life. Like, all right, like it's good not to put pressure on yourself. So I want to make a couple announcements outside of what was made before. You will start seeing small cards. They are kindness cards, and we'll have more. Brian. There was a little boy in a community that didn't live as long as his parents had hoped. And so every year on the anniversary of his death, I think it's 4 years since he died in a boating accident, his family encourages people to perform acts of loving kindness. And it could be anything, but we encourage you when we get to August, it'll be August 18th when it begins. It's on the anniversary of his death, the yard site. And these little cards allow you to surprise people with acts of kindness. The way it works is it could be something simple. You can buy a dozen bagels or donuts for the firemen or policemen in your neighborhood. You can buy wool for older people in assisted livings that are just waiting to continue doing something they've done forever. It could be anything. The goal is to bring kindness into the world. It's something we've been talking about on the different committees that I've been able to participate in since I got here. It's brought a lot of joy to people. So let me just ask a couple questions. We're not going to take long because I haven't given you enough time to eat in the previous week, so I don't want to get in the way of the sweets. We have a nice display. Is there anybody here that would just be out of their mind with joy if they met somebody that they've only seen from a distance? Is there a celebrity, a noted author? Is there anybody? I see some people whispering. No? Anybody? Who would be excited to, who would you be excited to meet that you've only seen in the news? Anybody?
Sure, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. What would you say to Tom Hanks if you saw him?
Your wife and I went to the same high school. We're 4 years apart.
So Harry says, of all the things he could say to Tom Hanks, he'd say, your wife, Rita Wilson, and I went to the same high school, and I bet you're 4 years older, maybe? Harry's 4 years older than his wife, and isn't it a small world? Okay, good. Thank you. He's getting the ball rolling. Is there anybody that anyone else would just be thrilled to meet? Living or dead, although it'd be hard to meet someone who's passed. Yes, Laura. Dick Van Dyke. I met him once.
Did you?
I did, because he used to live near where I raised my children, and I decided to be a good LA resident to just leave him alone. But I really wanted to say thanks for all the memories. Yes.
My grandparents, who had already passed away before I was born,
Do you know what you might say to them?
like, well, now it would be questioning them about their background and their problem, because of that. And also when I was a little kid too. So before I was born and little kids, maybe I never.
And tell us your name. I sense you're a member of the Bar Mitzvah family.
Yes, my name is Barry Mason.
Gotcha. Thank you. Is there anybody living or dead anyone else would like to? David in the back.
Yeah, Moshe Rabbeinu.
David would like to speak to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, the leader of our people in the desert. David, what would you say to him?
Why no bacon?
David would say, why no bacon? I'm not sure how to respond other than when I was in Morro Bay recently, maybe you saw it on my Facebook page, they were advertising chocolate-covered bacon. There you go. This past week, I ran into someone who I've admired from a distance. I was taking these glasses off and putting on my sunglasses outside a Ubatuba. Anybody know what Ubatuba is? It's right? No. Well, for the kids who've never bought yogurt on their own, which are the two in the front, and anyone who's visiting, it's a great frozen yogurt, gelato, one of those things. And I was hungry. I had just had an appointment, and I stopped. And as I'm putting my glasses on, whoosh, goes by two little kids. Whoosh, goes by an adult. It was Clayton Kershaw. He, if you don't know, if you're an Angel fan, he plays for the Dodgers. He's been there for 16 years, and he's one of the best pitchers ever. Right behind Sandy Koufax. No? Lynette? No? He's not good? Okay, let me make my point. Okay, maybe Fernando. I'm just saying he's won a couple games, not as often in the playoffs as you would have liked, but he's been very much a part of the team. So I said, what should I say to him? Number one, like I was saying before with Dick Van Dyke, I wanted to let him be because he was with two of his kids, and they had just come back from a road trip, and he's just trying to get frozen yogurt with his kids. So I turned around and I said, I don't want to bother you. So he turned around like, who's this person? And he's 6'4". So I said, I just want to thank you for the memories. He goes, oh, thank you very much. And I turned and left, to the chagrin of my cousins to whom I texted and my brother, what, no selfie? I said, no, we don't do that in Los Angeles. We just let him be. Then I got back to my car and I saw the ever-present Dodger hat. I said, oh, I can go back and get him to autograph my everyday Dodger hat. But I let it be, because we're in Los Angeles. Memories are very significant. And of all the things, because I had no time to prepare, I've been thinking, although of other things also, but since Monday, periodically the thought popped into my head, why did I say that to him? Thanks for the memories. Because I realize, and we say this when people die. Somebody posted today that their favorite uncle died, and I said what I often say, Not only may their memory be a blessing, but I hope your memories bring you comfort. It is very hard in the midst of leading your life to be really self-aware enough to be able to pause and ponder the significance of what you're experiencing. They say, and many of you have heard this, that after you die, people are not going to think so much about what you taught them, but they'll ponder instead how you made them feel. It is important to us as we turn the corner from the 3 weeks of mourning, which we've just been through, leading up to Tisha B'Av, which was Thursday, and we turn to 7 weeks of consolation, of joy, of thinking about endless possibility, that we think about what the values are that need to guide us in our lives. I heard a quote this week by Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning. And the writer, the person who said it actually, is a psychologist, and she was being interviewed by Mayim Bialik on her podcast. And they said, and the quote is, that between stimulus and response is a space. So it's important, and I used to say this to my patients in the state hospital when during COVID I was a Jewish chaplain at a state psych hospital on the Central Coast, is you can't just react and then later figure out what you might have done differently. Those are men who turn around and punch someone if they bother them. They clearly are there because they have anger management problems, not that some of us don't, but the goal through Dr. Frankel's teaching is to be present in the moment, so in that you know what your guiding values are, so that in that moment you can pause and think through what should guide your response, so that over time you don't only respond viscerally when things happen, but that you begin, especially at this time of year, to think about what your chosen values are, so that when you are faced with a choice, not only if someone hurts you or precipitates an action that might be hard to plan, but that we pause and think about how we've acted in the past year, what guided those decisions, and we have 7 weeks to try to get it right. The reason that I say we have 7 weeks is because just like the leadership team here, both lay and professional, we're not just going to wake up on the 7th of September and start planning, because in 8 days it's Rosh Hashanah. I present to you the option of all of us not only just walking into Rosh Hashanah, but doing a little bit of homework. I think it's important to reconnect. I don't think we should only do it on the eve of Rosh Hashanah or 7 weeks out, but I think there's a lot to be said about reconnecting with the values that you hold dear, if in fact there's some that you've drifted away from. Let me close with a reading. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It does not interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. I hope that as the weeks go forward, we will remember that Judaism encourages us to grow. It encourages us to be part of a holy community like this, to see support from each other, so that you feel that you can validate yourself and also have validation for the values that guide your life. So I want to close by saying, when we say Shana Tova to people on the 15th of September and on for about 10 days, we are saying, may it be a good year. But in my studies of Hebrew many, many moons ago, I learned that the root of the word for year is the same as the root for the word to change, right, David? Lishanot. So lishanot, to change, and shana, year, are connected. So I'm wishing us all the strength to make a good change, so when we are here again next year, we will be satisfied that at least in a few areas of our lives, we made some incremental changes, if not more substantial ones, toward the goals that are most important to us. Shabbat Shalom. We now continue with the Mishaberach. Tonight, our soloist is going to lead us into a different Mishaberach than we've heard. We've been on a steady diet of Debbie Friedman, which is wonderful, but we are going to do something different this evening. So what I want to do is to get my list of people that are ill. I encourage the people who are watching at home to put names in the chat. And I'm still working on how to get them, but at least they'll be seen by the people who are able to see the chat. And I think what we'll do is for me to read the names we have here. I'll solicit additional names from the people present, and then Julie will lead us in a beautiful version of a healing prayer by, what is Levine's first name?
Lisa.
Lisa Levine. So here are the people that I know of, and I will say, as I did last week, that I said it after many of you shared names, that you're welcome to write the office or call the office. My email address is rabbimuroff@tbola.org. LM. TBOLM, they're my initials, how could I forget? .org. I'd be happy to know of people that need some support. My list is growing. I had nobody the last few weeks. Now I'm up to 6. So it's a way that the community can offer support to you. So we are praying for Joseph Glazer, Marcia Mayton, Peggy, Sergio, our dear devoted member, had a procedure this week, but he's on the mend, head in the right direction. Linda and Ken Sealander. And I'm just adding a professor of mine from school. He's dealing with cancer. When I texted him on Thursday, I sent him some healing music, and he said, I really appreciate it because I'm in the midst of chemo. His name is Rabbi Eliezer Diamond, Eliezer Ben Sion Ben Chaya Golda. Is there anyone here who has a name that they would like to add? We'll start at the front, actually on the pulpit. Anybody? Okay. Thank you. Okay, Leslie. Thank you. The rows behind Leslie, Harry. Thank you. Anybody behind? No? Then we'll start in the front here. Yes? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Further back. Anybody in this section? Yes, Rita. Thank you. In the very back, welcome to the guests. Love the color. Okay. Anybody here moving this way? Lynette? No? Okay. Yes. Thank you. Laura? Thank you. We pray for all of these people and friends of friends of friends who don't have anybody to pray for them. We now continue with Lisa Levine's version of Shalom Rav, sung by
Misha Berach.
soloist. What did I say?
You said Shalom Rav.
Okay, it is clearly Misha Berach. Lisa Levine wrote a beautiful one, and we will now hear it by our soloist, Julie.
Misha Berach Avoteinu, Abraham, Yitzhak, veYaakov. Misha Berach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, veRachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May your hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Misha Berach Avoteinu, Abraham, Yitzhak, veYaakov. Misha Berach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, veRachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Misha us as well. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
It is very rare in our lives that we have silence, but it's very important. And as I've said already in my long tenure here of 3 weeks, it's really important to learn how to pray from your heart, not only from the words on the page. So as is the custom here, I'm going to ask you to rise. We'll have a few moments for silent meditation, and it's a chance to really get in touch with what you're feeling. No one's standing, so if the custom is to stay seated, that's fine. I didn't get the memo. You can be seated. An important person just shook their head. So you're welcome to stay seated or to stand, because it's America. We have a choice. But it's really important to pause and reflect. We'll take a few minutes, and then we'll continue with Yehiyu L'Ratzon. We continue with Yehiyu L'Ratzon, page 62.
Yehiyu l'ratzon imrefi v'hegyon libi lefanecha. Yehiyu l'ratzon imrefi v'hegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri ve'goali, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri ve'goali.
Page 282, Aleinu, rise in any way you're able. Aleinu, page 282.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula le'otzeh bereshit, shelo asanu k'gerei haratzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, ve'gor aleinu kechol hamonach, v'anachnu chorim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu. Yihyeh Adonai echad, bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad, bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai, Adonai echad.
You're welcome to be seated. The people that we're recalling at this time that have died recently or in the past year, or for whom yahrzeit is being observed, are as follows. Our community recently has suffered the loss of two individuals, Harley Rockoff, whose son Ron is here, a longtime member and founder, and Lily Kramer, sister of Peggy Roman. We continue to offer support to the family. The Kaddish list is as follows: Joel Lowenstein, Arthur Krieger, Maria Paulus Osborne, Ellen Hope Tews, Martin Becker, Nahama Fragoso, Allegra Gordon, Cyrus Chady, May Salinger, Sally Kravets, Myron Crystal, Molly Abraham, Phyllis Royce, Barbara Milton, Sandy Swern, David Blockstein, Robbie Bush, Rita Manning, and Jack Pivo. The yahrzeits are as follows: Ray Tobin, aunt of Terry LaVoot and great-aunt of Howard LaVoot; Seymour Bolt, uncle of Terry LaVoot and great-uncle of Howard LaVoot; Pauline Dunn, Leo Shukin, great-uncle of Eileen Mignella and great-great-uncle of Lillian Mignella; Frida Koenig, mother of Howard Koenig; Ed Ginter, Dr. Alan Sherman; Johanna Marks, great-grandmother of Terry LaVoot and great-great-grandmother of Howard LaVoot; Barbara Posanoff, Harry Hines Lewin, cousin of Terry LaVoot and cousin of Howard LaVoot; Emmanuel Silverman, Nathan Weinfeld, father of Sylvia Schmidt; Mary Pearl, Bohar Abraham Benveniste, father-in-law of Fran Benveniste; Martha Manriguez, wife of Joe Manriguez; Sidney Hoffman, father of Howard Hoffman; David Saul Hirschfeld; Rebecca Dashoff, Zelda Fickhandler, cousin of Ted LaVoot and Howard LaVoot; Gloria Garavito, mother of Wilma Scher; Carol E. Sherman, and Anna Kramer. It is now time for the Mourner's Kaddish. Anybody that is reciting Kaddish, I invite you, along with everyone else, to rise in any way you're able so that we can not only say Amen at the proper time, but through the adjacent love, give you support as is needed. Page 274, we'll say it nice and slowly. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon uchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Ulmei Olmaya. Yit Borach V'yishtabach V'yitboar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shemei Dekudusha Berichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tush B'chata V'nechamata Damiram B'alma V'yimru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shmaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'romav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Nathaniel, can you come here? I have your first bar mitzvah present. And then we're going to continue with Kiddush on page 5. I think every young man who's having his bar mitzvah should have their own challah. So it's yours. You don't eat it all at once, but we can use it for the motzi. Available at your neighborhood Trader Joe's. So you should go back to Mora Julie, but yet you'll have this for in a moment or to take home. It's high honey content. It's really delicious. So page 5 is the Kiddush, led by Nathaniel and Mora Julie, our soloist, and then we'll go right to Motzi and then our closing song.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzah banu, b'shabbat kodsho v'yavo v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'charta v'yotanu ki וקדשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen.
Hi. Nathaniel, this is your very first. It's just grape juice.
Yay. If it was wine, I would be like,
That's why you got grape juice. Okay, so put it underneath the little shelf. Maybe the rest of you.
All right, we're gonna do the vote seat now. Okay. No, the vote seat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, te'avon.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. We welcome Nathaniel into the ranks of Jewish adulthood. There won't be pressure until you go off to college. We're going to help you get used to this whole idea of being an adult in the community. Congratulations to you. Thank you, Dr. Ray, and a special thank you to our soloist, Julie. She will be back tomorrow, but thank you so much. I just want to state the obvious in case it's not clear that Julie jumped in as the term of the previous soloist was ending and as Rabbi Mark was finishing up his time. So there were a lot of emails, lots of texts, but honestly, I don't think Nathaniel would have been prepared without her assistance. So we can give her a virtual round of applause, maybe a real round of applause, which won't be appropriate tomorrow, but thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we continue with Oseh Shalom.
Oh, say shalom v'imromav, v'yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to those who joined us from far and wide. Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy the Oneg. Thank you to the Bar Mitzvah family for sponsoring it. Have a sweet and restful Shabbat.
I made a mistake, just so you are aware. I made a mistake too, so it happens to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Ray.